welcome to our first official live trading session for 2026. I got the year correct. All right, okay, now, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our live trading session. And this is Terrence trading live with all of you tonight, okay? All right, now, so you would have noticed it's a new year with a new set of slides for our live trading session. Okay, all right, now, so we are still what we are. All right, okay, we are going to have live trading sessions on Mondays and Wednesdays together with me at 11 p.m. Singapore time. All right, so today is Monday. We are going to run our first live trading session for the week. All right, so without further ado, shall we let's get going. All right, now, so please bear in mind that all forms of trading bears a risk of loss. So if you're going to join us for any trades today, please make sure you know the trading strategy itself, you know how to get things done, and you know the risk involved with each of these trading strategies that we are applying and adopting in this market. Let's go to our market update, shall we? All right, now, so in our market updates over here on a weekly basis, right, what I want to do is I want to cover mainly as per usual, right, which is to look at the market in the form of S&P 500. Right, okay, but when we look at S&P 500, we don't want to look at the cash index itself. We want to look at the tradable version of this index, right, which is, of course, we're talking about the SPY, right? So indirectly, by looking at the SPY and how it moves, right, will actually tell us very much the same kind of picture, right, for the S&P index itself. Yeah. Now, so these are the ranges, right, that we expect for this week, right? And as well as that, I'm going to be giving you kind of like the medium-term range that has been established, right, for the stock at this current moment. Right. So let's go with the bigger version first, right? And if you look at the SPY, yeah, okay, I'm just going to bring it across to your screen very, very soon. Give me a minute. Okay, all right, now, so if you look at the SPY over here, right, please ignore my purple colored lines. Yeah, okay, I'm doing some research over there. But what I want to show you over here is basically this, right? Okay, if you look at the SPY, right, the SPY has basically been trading inside of this range, right, for the better of almost more than a month right now. Yeah, okay, so we've been trading inside this $10 range over here. Yeah, okay, which I'm plotting on the screen. Can you see that? All right, so ever since we broke out from this high, yeah, we'll put it here. Yeah, okay. Ever since we broke up from this high, right, the market started going into a brand new zone, right, in which it has established. Right now, and in this zone, we had a couple of false break. Yeah, okay. If you notice over here, we had a couple of false break looking to surge, but it failed. Right, coming back to the bottom of the range, it broke the bottom, it failed, right, and then it bounced right back, going to the top. It attempted to break and make a new high, which it did, but it lost its strength and came back in again. Right, and this time when it came back in, right, it literally challenged, right, or tried to go to the middle of this range, right, and then now we're seeing the bounce. Yeah, okay, now, so we are once again facing the breakout, right, but yet again, if you notice what I'm saying, right, this breakout over here, right, is happening on a potential, right, negative divergence, right, which we are seeing in this 1 hour chart, right? So what I'm showing you right now is really a 1 hour chart. Right now, so I'm going to take you to a daily time frame, right, which is probably not as obvious and not as clear over here, but this is the period we're talking about. You see that? Right now, and if you look at what I'm saying over here on the daily intervals, right, we are actually still looking very much at a negative divergence, right, on this new high that the market is trying to attempt a fourth round. All right, now this is round number one, it failed. Round number two, it failed again. Round number three, it failed. All right, okay, and this is trying and making an attempt for round number four, right? But each time this new challenge happens, right, it is happening on the back of what we call weakening strength, right, on this strength indicator called RSI, right? And apart from that, right, it is also showing us, right, that it is happening on weaker momentum, right, which is measured by the MACD itself. Yeah, now, so strength is not on the side of this surge up, right? Momentum is also not on the side of this surge up that's happening. So what is? Because this surge up, you notice as well, is not technically supported by technology. And that was the most important part, right? This rally, this push is not supported by technology. Yeah, okay. And we are getting that burst today. But this burst, right, has really been very, very short-lived of recent times. Right now, so I actually did kind of like an ending video, right, before the end of the year, right, which is going to be published and shared soon, right, in some of our social media channels. But All right, okay, I will develop more into that later on in our session. All right, but for this week, all right, the expected move based on the pricing of options, all right, the market is expecting a move of about plus minus $8 on the SPY. Now, so the market closed at about 683 last Friday. Okay, so the closing price was about 683 last Friday. So plus 8 would put the upside for this week, right? Which means Friday, not today, Friday, right? The upside of the market is expected at 691. Yeah, okay, and the downside of the market is expected at 675. And if you notice something interesting over here, right? Looking back at the range I've just showed you, right? Does anybody know where the bottom of this range is? Voila, 675. Yeah, okay, all right, pretty interesting. If you kind of start paying attention to these kind of clues, right, that the market gives you. Right now, why do I say this? I say this because right now, if you look at the confluence of events, yeah, okay, that means events that are happening, like on the back of each other, right? Then you will notice that, hey, looking at the range, 691 will represent a re-challenge to the top here, right? 675, right, would attempt, right, to bring the market back down to the bottom of this range. And would you realize that both of them are equally likely to happen this week? Yeah. All right. Okay. But in order for that to happen, right, the market basically has to break out, right, of this week's kind of top of the range. All right. Oh, sorry. It has to break out from the medium term range, right, in which it has established. So this is probably the first barrier that it has to break, which is today. All right. So what's left to be seen right now is, can this opening jump or opening gap sustain until the market close? Because over the last couple of sessions, we did have gaps on the open, right? But then they were very quickly reversed, right, and close lower at the end of the day. All right, now, so would that be a same occurrence as well? Because today's rally is really a little bit, all right, okay, kind of what we would say as news driven, right? Because you know I don't want to comment anything politically over here, but basically the picture right now is that US has gained a lot more additional resources, right, because of what it did, right, in capturing Venezuela. Right, so this is a little bit of what we call short-term positivity that's being created by events that have unfolded over the weekend, right? But whether this will be continuously taken positively, right, or it would quickly reverse into a negative aspect of things, right, okay, is left to be seen. Because this situation right now can be seen as both positive as well as negative, right? Because they did ousted or captured someone, right, who isn't doing the best job, right, or doing things the right way. But at the same time, right, they have stuck their foot into another country's business, which is not very, not something that any country in this world should be doing. Yeah. Okay. Now, so it's really in the mix. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to take any sides over here. But for today, right, the market has definitely taken the sides of profitability of business. Yeah. Okay. Because we are basically seeing the oil stocks being driven. Yeah. Okay. So if we look at XLE over here, right, which is energy, can you see? Boom. Right. It opened at the high, but we have already reversed. Right. So if I bring it down a little bit, can you see how big this reversal is? Yeah, okay, it's a massive reversal, right, since the opening. All right, now, so one of the biggest winners over here is probably CVX, right, which shot from 155 to 166, right? That's literally almost what, 4% move? Yeah, okay, that's absolutely crazy, right? 4% move, right, on something that's I don't know what, something that's what. I don't even know how to describe this. Okay, but it is what it is, right? So that's number one. All right. Another thing that has taken positively, right, which I clearly do not know why, is financials, right? Because financials have been suffering over the last couple of sessions, right? And then today it surged massively on this Venezuela incident as well. All right. Now, so this is a massive rotation, right, on the back of technology, which is weakening once again, right? So it opened, right, not doing much, right, and now has reversed, right, to almost an even situation. Yeah. Okay. Now, so Nvidia is also still positive, but barely, right? So it has since reversed from the high, right, of today itself, right? So let's take a look at intraday. Doesn't look very good again, does it? right now. So this reversal can continue to drop and continue to fall, right? Which then means that whatever SPY gains that we see right now, right, can literally break down, right, and start collapsing as well, right? Now, so that's why I keep saying we have to wait until the end of today, right, to actually know what's in store or what ideas the market basically has. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking forward to a very, very impactful 2026, right, together with all of you. Happy New Year, everybody, right? I'm wishing all of you a great health and many happy occasions for the rest of the year ahead of us. I'll see all of you really soon, okay? All right, have a good night. Bye, everyone. See you.